Welcome back to Halftime Report on CNBC TV 18, where Manisha Gupta is joining in. She has a roundup of all the commodity and currency market action, and she also has a guest joining her now. Manisha, over to you.
Well, yes, I have Jonathan Bharat of Probus Securities with me now. Jonathan, hi, such a pleasure to have you. And I want to talk about the crude oil prices because after declining for the 4 straight weeks, we've seen some sanity, some pullback come into the markets right now. Whether it has to do with the Alberta wildfires or the OPEC output cuts or even the Department of Energy in US talking about buying for the SPRs now, what are you focusing on? Which event?
Yeah, Manisha, good afternoon. Look, I think there are a few things. Obviously, oil in itself has bounced off a major low. And I think that we will get some support back into the markets. The Alberta fires are a concern. And also the fact that the US government is going to sort of dip in and sort of increase the SPR by about 3 million barrels, I think also adds to support. I guess one concern that I hold is what's happening in China in terms of the IP data that came out today. We were expecting quite a large number there. It failed to materialise and came in. It was still growth, but not what the market expected. And that might be why we're just seeing a little bit of softness. But generally, I think it's provided it's trading into support.
From these current levels, what's your expectation on where the prices are headed? Because most of the market seems to believe that the second half of this year or, ending of third to starting of fourth quarter is when we will be looking at tightness.
I think a lot of people, traders are expecting that same, but I don't think that people are actually suggesting the highs that they're expecting. I think that a lot of people are actually reviewing that. In my mind, I think we've got major support down in this 72.50 area basis, the Brent. We can see it actually, that tightness come in and see it trading higher. I don't think the expectations around that 85 and higher than 85 are there unless we get some sort of concern out of the Middle East. Obviously, there are some issues there at the moment, and that might sort of sway some of the macros a lot higher. But I think given where we are in terms of how the economies are bubbling on, I feel that we've got support, and I think we could see it sort of trading up through that US probably around that 80, 82, but I don't see it going too much further at the moment.
All right. What's your sense also on the metal prices? Because here as well, we're looking at every uptick being sold into. The Chinese data that came in today also has not been up to the mark, much lower than the street expectation.
Look here. Generally, when you look at some of the base metals, we're under pressure due to the recessionary fears there. The Chinese data certainly didn't help that as well. When you look at copper, we still hold out for copper in towards, middle and later in the year that we'll get that deficit, and we will see prices well supported there. At the moment, though, I guess there are concerns about whether inflation's going to pick up, whether that's going to see the Fed hike again, and I think that's certainly weighing on some commodities. So when I look at the base metals there, probably just a little bit more downside, but not too much. Precious metal markets, they're just sort of languishing here. I am concerned on gold at the moment.
And are you expecting the gold prices to break $2,000 per ounce then?
Look, I'll tell you what, when you look at gold and you look at silver, we've got a triple top in gold around that 2070. Now, what's going to really force it? We're trying to work out what is that macro, what is that news that's going to force it through that 2070? That is super tough support, resistance, sorry. So if it does break through that level, it's going to be something quite major. If it doesn't, I see it starting to languish. You do note with silver has failed around that $25 an ounce, and as a result of that, that's come under a lot of pressure. We had quite a large decline there. So I think we can actually see some consolidation in the precious metal markets before ultimately moving higher. But that triple top, it is a big one there. So I think if I have been long for a while, I would sort of like to take some profit off the table.
And just repeating that question yet again. So if you see $2,000 per ounce break on the lower side, what kind of new supports would we be looking at?
Look, I generally think that when you look at that, we know that 1950 and the 1920s are all support. The market is long, and that does worry me. And as a result of that, if we do see that significant break, then we could see a quick and sharp move that will certainly clean out a few of the more recent longs. And if that's the case, well, then I think you'd probably find some good support down there and maybe edge into a new position. But at the moment, I think we have some stale longs in the market, and we could be up for a clean out.
Okay.
All right, Manisha, thanks a lot for that. And that's some commentary coming in on oil. Jonathan, thank you for joining in. Some updates at the bottom of your screen with regards to Dish TV. Currently, we are seeing the stock lower by about 4%, but these stocks usually move ahead of news as well, so we'll watch out for that. Take a short break, come back on the other side, we'll get you more on the markets. And in fact, some earnings expectations as well. We have Bank of Baroda reporting their numbers, key expectations after a while.